I'm Jack, and this is my transformation story. I grew up in a Church of England school, and we were very much brought up around the Bible. I kind of went to my secondary school then, and after leaving for my secondary school, it wasn't so much a Church of England school, so we kind of like essentially moved away from it a little bit. And then I joined the army. As I moved away from the army, I kind of moved away from like church and religion, and not out of any particular reason, just moved away from it, and life kind of happened. And then we somehow landed down here. We eventually had our children, and I think when we had our first child, little Alfie, I think it started to like whisper more in the back of my mind, like we should probably at some point start going back to church. And then it kind of went away again a little bit, and then little Archie was born, and then after little Archie being born, I started whispering again in the back of my phone, like, come on, we should really start doing this. We had actually a bunch of invitations to come to Brookstone, and I was like, oh, very much appreciated. We're obviously getting there eventually, and maybe we'll get there at Christmas, or maybe we'll get there at Easter. And we just never quite managed to get around to it. I was very anxious. I was like, I can do everything, I can control everything. I didn't need any help. I could do everything on my own. At no one point did I need people helping me. 6 months after Archie being born, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I think that was the thing that really pushed us over the edge. I met Jeff Reeser in Brookstone Park, and when I first started chatting to Jeff, he said to me, do you know Jesus? Are you a believer of God? And I was like, I think I do. At that point, I think he's like, well, this is my story. And he told me his story, and I think that opened it up for a second to go, hey, I actually don't have that relationship with God. And then I think the first time I ever walked in here was myself and my 2 boys. And I think it was the moment that I walked in here, it was instantly felt like family, instantly felt like home. Everybody was incredibly friendly. And then it kind of just happened. We were during service, and it was just like, I've got this. You haven't got to do everything on yourself. All of a sudden, we said the prayer for salvation, and it just felt right. It always felt like somebody was sitting on my chest and my shoulders, and all of a sudden this pressure had just been taken off my shoulders and my chest, and it was like, oh, my arm's up in the air. God's surrounded me by all these people and all these wonderful people from all our friends, and genuinely, I think it took for all this to happen for me to be open to it. And when it happened, it was like, oh, it was just like instantly just changed, and it was just like mood change, and it was like God has this under control. I think I just had to have that to happen for me, for everything to essentially calm down and be more relaxed and realize I don't have to do everything. God's got everything. And I think it took for Kayla to get cancer and for us to be like, pause for a second. We can do this, and somebody else can take control. It's okay to ask for help from God. You don't have to do all this on your own. You can ask your community, you can ask your church, you can ask whoever you want, and it's perfectly fine.